Boom, we are back. Episode number 113 of the Two Armenian Men podcast. Shant, how you feeling tonight, big guy?
Feeling good, man. Tired. I know it's late for you, so let's get into this one, man. I'm excited. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a little bit now. And, well, I'm not excited about it. I just think the topic, we should be discussing it.
You know how Instagram and Facebook suggest advertisements based off of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of content just recently suggested to me, non-sponsored content shared to me based off of inflation and recession. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So the content that I got was referring more to real estate than anything else, but it was referring to the fact that the housing market has not crashed except for one out of the 6 recessions in the history of
2 out of the last 6. No, two out of 6 have had a real estate market crash. Yeah, it's 2.
But there's all sorts of speculation about this recession. This possible recession. Well, we are technically in a recession.
Yeah.
The laws that govern economics have already pointed to the fact that we are in a recession. However, most people don't feel like we're in a recession. I don't know why, but we are. But a lot of speculation as to how much damage this is going to do to the housing market. Just generally speaking here, what's your overall attitude like right now? And what's your sort of outlook like? And then we can sort of hop into the whole premise of tonight's discussion. I'm sort of curious. Are you on guard? Are you sort of keeping a finger on the pulse? What's your deal?
Yeah, I mean, I keep, it's all we talk about in our office about I've been trying to inform agents we may not. I don't know if there's going to be a crash coming, but it's not even about a crash. It's the recession, right? And the stat you said, which I believe it's only 2 out of the last 6 recessions, there was a real estate market crash, right? And which bodes well for real estate in this recession that we're in. But the one thing that we don't talk about in real estate, a recession, regardless if it affects the real estate market, it's bad for real estate agents.
Why is that the case?
Because sales go down. So right now we are down in our MLS, right? So the amount of sales month by month is down 30%. So we have about, it's like 33%, 32%, I think. We have about 9,000 homes that we're selling every month here in the Phoenix Metro. And that's pretty average for the past few years, even before COVID. Right now, we're at 6,000 home sales a month. So less sales, less agents closing deals.
Do you think that buyers are far less motivated than they were months ago because of their outlook on sort of what their income is going to be like?
No, it's actually all the talking point that we have with, in my team, we do about 3,000 transactions a year. So I'm around this conversation a lot. And they don't even bring that up. It's more that the interest rates are high right now. Right now, the interest rates are around 7%. Just less than a year ago, they were 2 point something, right?
So it's really interesting that you just said that, because a lot of people, the most content that I've been seeing from realtors lately is like, a lot of them use that famous phrase, marry the house, date the rate. And it's kind of like a cheesy cliche thing to say, because you're going to piss away a lot of money the first few years of that interest rate, because a lot of the
go ahead.
A lot of the interest that we see is front loaded in a lot of these mortgages. I don't know how every single mortgage is, but I'm pretty positive that the mortgage company wants their interest before they want their principal back.
Yeah.
Now, curious to see, Shant, how that affects your attitude, affects your sort of like just overall comfort in the real estate market, how you talk to customers, how much attention you give to, to each interaction. How does that change in sort of a market where you're not even sure exactly when your next sale is going to be? Let's dive into it a little bit, and I want to actually talk a little bit about the restaurant too,
Yeah.
in discussing exactly what we're doing currently to fight inflation because it's affected us a lot.
Mhm.
Actually, just today, we switched over to romaine lettuce for sandwiches as opposed to iceberg, which we were using since we first started.
Wow.
And the reason why was because of the catastrophic price increase of iceberg lettuce. We've also been seeing product shortages. We've seen meat go through the roof. We've had to bear the brunt of it for the most part without increasing prices, but we just recently increased prices again.
Mm.
So there's a lot of different worries that my dad currently has that I'm trying to mitigate without taking drastic measures. And I sort of wanted to discuss that on my end tonight. And I really do hope that it's useful for anybody that's in retail because I'm going to change it around in a way so that it's not completely restaurant specific jargon, but I'll try and adapt it in a way. So I want to start off with you first, Sean, because this is really your area that you wanted to talk about. So as far as what somebody in real estate or in retail, more specifically small business, can do to deal with inflation wisely. 10 practical tips, 5 from me, 5 from you,
Yeah.
with our respective industries. Can you start off?
Yeah. So real quick to finish your point about, marry the house, date the rate. Again, you will not hear me saying that because you asked me what I'm communicating to clients and stuff like that. It will not be sayings like that because that doesn't mean anything. Okay. You don't know how long you're going to date the rate, how long you're going to have to pay for that interest, right? And how long. And then when you're done, you're going to tack on more years to the loan because you're refinancing, right? So again, not saying it's a bad strategy, right? It's a good strategy, but let's not sit here and talk about cliches. Okay. Uh, the other thing, what I'm communicating to clients is, listen, can you afford the payment? Yes. Do you need a house right now? Yes. Do you love the house? Yes. Okay. Do you feel your job's in jeopardy? No. Okay. You should probably buy. I've literally told people in the past few months, don't buy right now. Right? Not because it's not a good time. I just, in their situation, I was like, hey, it's just not a good time. Just give it, make sure some stuff is secured before you make this big transaction. But I just got qualified, or in the process of getting qualified to buy a property, me and my business partner. So I'm looking for a deal because right now there are deals to be had. And I could.
Ooh, okay. So
Yeah.
you're saying that right now opportunities are certainly there, but for the cash buyer, it's a little bit more of a opportunity as opposed to somebody who's going to be taking out a high interest loan.
Well, no, both, because we would do a loan. I just think if you could suck it up, like, the house, date the rate. I don't like the saying, but that's what we're going to be doing. Right. So yeah, now that's kind of what I've been communicating and what I think about rates, because rates right now are high, right? Because rates go with inflation. So once we see inflation come down, we will start to see rates come down as well. That's been kind of history of the rates. Like it's been pretty balanced with inflation. So yeah, I haven't heard much about the job concern. It's mostly interest rate. Now, let's talk about So I'll go with five. You go with five. But we'll probably just rapid fire. I'll go one. Should I do all my five and then you go your five, or rapid
No,
fire?
let's go 1-to-1. So earlier today, me and my dad were talking. We're known for having just these massive dinner plates. Some people share, some people save for the next meal or whatever. And we were talking earlier today about how we can do it so that we're not increasing prices, how we can even decrease prices and keep it fair for everybody.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas that came to mind was possibly offering sizes for even dinner plates. We were trying to do sizes before on wraps, but it just wasn't working with good turnover. However, with dinner plates, because they're all we're worrying about is just a different size plate and um, offering other items that can be very, very easily offered in sizes, making sure that you're giving customers the option of a smaller size for a lower cost could actually be a better move as opposed to raising prices.
Wow.
This way, you're still retaining a decent profit margin because, as we all know, getting the biggest size is gonna get you the best deal at a restaurant, as opposed to getting the smallest size, which is going to get you the worst deal. But when you have only X amount of dollars, that's what you're able to get. So if I'm stuck in a predicament where my costs are all going up and I've got customers that are on a budget, I can not so much capitalize on their lack of money, but keep everybody happy, if you will, by offering sizes when before I was so persistent on not offering that.
So,
Um,
quick question. It's interesting you say that, and to you, it's probably like in 2 plus 2. But for someone like me, not in the industry, you said, why is it a known thing that the smaller plate there's more profits than the larger plates? It's crazy.
because you've got to charge a minimum. You've got to have a minimum price for something. It's
And
almost like
why
a
is it the
like
best deal for the consumer? The large one is the best deal for the consumer.
the
I'm sorry.
large one is the best deal for the consumer. As in, think about it in the popcorn analogy at the movie theater.
Okay.
The small is like $4.75 and it's
Yeah.
tiny, but the large is like $5.25, whatever the prices are
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But like, and it's massive. Like, why wouldn't you get the large?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because that shawarma is sitting there, it's burning away, and the plate is going to get filled up by somebody. It's just a matter of how much that person's going to put in the plate. So that person's working regardless. They're filling up the plate. It doesn't matter if they're filling up 4 ounces or 6 ounces. So like, if you're going to make the person work and you're only going to make them work for the smallest plate, I got to charge a minimum for that.
Yeah.
So the whole point is that the best deal, because you're ordering so much, we won't charge you that much more than the price of the smallest size. We're going to charge you more, but not that much more. It's not going to be 200 times the price. Even if it is double, it's going to be like 150 times the price. So yes, in the restaurant business, it's widely known. If you go to get a steak at a steakhouse, an 8-ounce filet is 60, but a 12-ounce filet is probably 64.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd the way that they decide this. But if the guy's going to put it on the grill, he's going to want to charge you a minimum. And that's the whole point. If you're trying to save $4 here, $4 there, a couple bucks on the wine, just to make sure it's a $200 date, you're going to pay a minimum.
I never thought about that. It's interesting.
But these are all options that are available, and for some places they're not. And I would highly suggest starting to offer them at the very least temporarily. That's my tip for anybody that's in retail that has sizes or options, or doesn't have options for sizes for portions.
Yeah. Wow. Let's start with my first tip. So, and this is stuff I've been communicating to my agents for the past few months on my team. So number one, it's you have to up your activity by at least 35%. And basically have to get off your ass, right? Because the past 2 years we've gotten agents have gotten comfortable. Things were easy in a different way. And it was just crazy, right? People, hey, I have $700,000 cash. I just want to buy that house real quick, right? Now we don't have that. So now it's like we have to get back up and work. And why I say 35%, when I mean you have to up your activity of trying to find clients and do the work as a real estate agent, 35%, 30 to 35% is just to make the same amount of money you've been making. It's not to like make more money, right? Because if sales are down 30, 35%, that means your income's going to be 35 down, right? Technically. So you have to up that activity to retain that money. So that would be my number one point as far as what agents should be focusing on right now during this recession.
Well, this brings me to my next tip, which is be 200% more active in the business personally. As in, add your personal touch whenever it's possible with customers. Show your face twice as much with customers.
And your employees probably, right?
Well, yeah, because there's a famous quote by Sam Walton. It's how you treat your employees is how those employees will treat your customers. And I find a lot of truth behind this statement because it's a direct reflection. What your attitude is toward your employees will be directly mirrored onto your customers.
Like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's highly important that the most happy person in the establishment is the employee, no matter what, because a customer can be pissed off regardless of how he was treated or not. He could be treated perfectly. He could still be leaving there pissed off. But if an employee is pissed off, it's guaranteed that a customer will leave there with that same person's energy. That's why I don't let anybody in the front, especially one of us, if they're in a bad mood, because that will get translated directly into somebody not talking to customers in a way that's beneficial for the business. And it will put us in a position where we're rushing through interactions, where that interaction, each and every interaction I have with a customer, if it's at all possible, even if I know that customer is a loyal customer, I still give them, especially during these times, 200% of my attention, because I actually do care about their business. And the more that you care, especially during these times, the more that they're going to care that you're also doing okay. And this is real. It's not disingenuous care about your customer so that he, doesn't stop buying from you. No, it's making sure that your loyal customers know exactly how much you appreciate their business throughout the years. And this is for us, this is very, very important, to the point where we actually are right now in the process of establishing a loyalty program to gear up for this recession. We want our customers to have some way of benefiting from constantly coming to us.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great, man. So for me, my next one is focusing on market share compared to sales, and what trying to compare your sales to your goal, or compare your sales. When I mean sales, I mean your units of homes sold.
Can you elaborate for people like me who don't immediately know what you're talking about? Can you rephrase? Can you say this again? Market share?
Yeah, versus sales.
Market share versus sales. And can you define that in a little bit?
Yeah, and this is actually for any business, for you, for anyone right now. I think this is applicable for any business, because I talked with our CEO and stuff, CEO owner. He broke this down to me, and I was just like, oh, wow. How simple of a thought it is and how important it is right now. Okay. So right now in every industry, your industry, my industry, every industry, sales are down. right? And sales are down all across the board. But if you focus on market share is how much of the market share you have as far as the sales, right? So for instance, let's say there are 200 home sales a year in your market, okay? Just easy math. 200 home sales, and you sell 20 homes a year. That means you have 10% market share, okay? So with all the market, the 200 home sales a year, you have 10% of it every year. Let's say this year, the only 100 homes sell. Okay, 100 homes sell, and you only sell 15. So you went from 20 sales to 15 sales. So your sales are down, but if you compare it to the overall market sales, now you have 15% of market share. So you've expanded your business and you've taken market share from your competition, but most people are focused on sales and how many deals they're doing. But you can't look at the deals or how many stuff you sell, how many people walk through your door. It's all about how many are walking through the door compared to how many there has been have been this year. Does that make sense?
So that makes a lot of sense. So basically, even if you sold less homes, given what you're working with,
Yeah.
you sold less homes, but you sold less homes in a market that had less homes,
To sell.
or sorry, less buyers or less homes ready for
And that
immediate
means
closing.
you took more of the market share from your competition. So now that next year, let's say sales go back up and there's 300 home sales, you have 15% market share now. So now you're at 40 homes sold, right? Now you have the market share. So this is in any business. This could apply.
So, we were talking about this today, me and my father. We were talking about the whole lettuce issue. My dad's been a big, he's been known for being a shopper. Some of his suppliers hate him for this because, like, he'll fax over, or he'll send over a sheet with his cost for some item, and he'll ask him to match or beat the cost, and they get all pissed off because it's over like $5 or $6, basically their profit margin on each case. But they don't want to lose his business because he buys a bunch of other stuff too. And what we were talking about was the whole lettuce thing. And my dad, when I suggested using romaine across the board instead of getting two different kinds of lettuce, he was initially trying to figure out a way to get the iceberg for cheaper to not change the product. But when I told him, why don't you shop around for a better romaine cost and see if we could just buy more and get a better price, that's when I think the opportunity was a little bit clearer. So shopping suppliers is one tip that I want to give. And when you're shopping the supplier, consider changing the quantity or changing the quality of the product. Maybe instead of offering two or three variants of one product, order one variant, just order more of it.
Yeah. Wow.
And try to find a better or a cheaper supplier, not in quality, but in the same quality, just cheaper price. Do not dip in quality is my point. With this whole thing. This is imperative that you do not dip quality, because a lot of the supplies that we've been receiving, the raw products, quality has been shit, especially from China. For example, paper products have been thinner, aluminum foils have been thinner, everything's getting rolled out cheaper. Our plastic bags are now thinner. Like before, they used to be able to lift stuff. We got a triple bag sometimes. That's how weak they are.
Wow.
The paper bags tear.
Deal. Yeah, that's a big yeah.
So it's very, very important that even as a supplier, like if you're a supplier to my business if you're trying to keep your prices the same but reducing the quality of your product, you're not just going to hear my complaint. You're not going to hear it altogether. I'm just going to pull my business. So it's
Yeah.
very, very important that quality also stays very, very high and everything else adjusts around that quality.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's a good tip, man. For me, my next one is, and this one is a bit riskier, I would say, but go on offense, right? Now, what do I mean with that? Triple down, I would say. And if you have played the last few years right, you have some extra cash, I would say double down on uh, just spending money to get more leads, or whatever you have to do for marketing, whatever it is. Spend more right now. Go on offense while more people are contracting, right, and trying to save. This is where you spend a little bit more money. If again, it's risky. If you've been playing the game the right way the past few years, I would definitely say that's a good way to take over market share.
Where would you go on offense right now? Where would you put your money?
Probably buy leads, or maybe if you're big on like marketing, I would build your brand up right now, like through social, spend money there to really, really up your brand and get eyeballs.
Where would you put your money? Instagram?
Maybe Google, man. Well,
So how would a real estate agent separate themselves on Google? Aren't there a ton of real estate agents doing that already?
no. So if you play your Google My Business the right way, geotagging photos and adding posts and updates and products, right? And then push money behind it, because I think your updates you could push money behind. I forgot which one it is, but you could push some of that product. And I spent a little bit. I just wanted to play around and test with it. And recently, I've gotten a few people reaching out to me. So that's the way I would go about it. Probably Instagram too. If you're hyper focused on a specific neighborhood or area, like local, I would definitely spend money there for sure on Instagram.
Very interesting. Would you pay for any direct mailers to condo buildings that you know are rental condo buildings? Not condo, apartment buildings like the ones that you guys used to live at back when you first
Yeah.
moved to Arizona?
No, not mailers. Mailers. So right now, if I was spending, I mean, well, maybe, because mailers take a long time, right? Typically, you need to do that for 6 months to a year to really start seeing the fruits of your
Would you
labor.
actually hold a sign on the street near a busy
I
street?
think
Like I'm a
that might just,
realtor, call me.
yeah, that might just get attention, but I don't know if that'll really get you actual people reaching out to you. Honestly, I would buy leads. Realtor.com is a little slow right now. Um, if you're able to on Zillow, I would definitely try to buy some Zillow leads depending on the market you're in. Yeah, that's where I would go.
Well, thanks, Sean. The lead thing, the social media thing, it's always interesting to hear where somebody would go in particular. Um, Spending money on social is a little bit unique, I think, for real estate agents because a lot of real estate agents are popping up left and right. Even on my feed, people that are selling real estate in like California are popping up. I'm like, how did I even get this ad? So it's a lot of money is being spent in that space. So it's just really, I guess, getting creative with it is, from what I'm understanding, is what you're saying. Google My Business. That I didn't even think of that, dude. What the fuck? That's crazy. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to come up with the most creative way to advertise catering for the restaurant. And I've been trying to come up with decent ways, and I'm. It's really boiled down to Google for me for catering, but Instagram for me for takeout. So I feel like every single platform has its purpose, has its target demographic. Like I don't know if they do or not, but I think, does LinkedIn have sponsored posts?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I know a lot of professionals they use
Yeah.
LinkedIn. It's amazing how much they use it.
Yeah, it's so weird. I haven't really gotten into it. I have an account, but yeah, you're right. So many people use it. They must have paid advertising. They must.
Especially right now, because all these professionals that are still at their job are probably looking for better jobs.
Oh, 100%.
So maybe that could be an option, busy professionals that they're busy looking for a job, but at the same time, they may be looking for a house. Anyway, just throwing that out there. My next tip is something that me and my dad have been doing a lot lately, especially with the shortage of staff, which has been saving us a decent amount of money, actually. It's allowed us to pay our staff a little bit more, a tiny bit more, but hire less staff, in essence, incentivizing them to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's at all possible to get your hands dirtier in your business, to cut costs via being more productive yourself, that could be a great way to incentivize other employees also to pick up the slack a tiny bit, given the fact that you're also, as an employer or a boss, doing the same. So if they can get a little bit more money, given the inflation, yet they know that you're also putting in 150, 200%, I think that this would also make them want to work a tiny bit harder alongside you, because they're also seeing that you are also putting in the effort.
Yeah.
So get your hands dirtier in this. It doesn't matter if it's in food. You don't actually have to get your hands dirty if your business doesn't require getting hands dirty. And if you are getting your hands dirty, fucking wash them, because that's ridiculous. You shouldn't be working with food with dirty ass hands. Wear some fucking gloves. Anyway, so getting your hands dirty for me and my dad lately, like my dad's been doing deliveries here and there just to save costs on delivery drivers. Wow. So like he'll do it. He doesn't care at this point. He's not trying to impress anybody. Like if he runs into somebody, they'll know exactly what the fuck he's doing. Like, buddy, I'm trying to save $60 on a delivery charge right now. Get off my ass.
And your dad's still retired, right?
My dad's technically retired. My dad is technically retired. And he does this not because we're having trouble finding help. He doesn't. He just loves being able to find a way to cut costs. My dad has never been the one to really, really, really respect the whole work-life balance thing, or like he doesn't know all that bullshit. He doesn't know any of that. When he goes on vacation, he goes on vacation. When he's back home, he's working. There is no balance.
They wouldn't understand what work-life balance means at all. You're right. Like he goes away, he's away. He's here. If he's in the state of Massachusetts, he's working.
He's working, yeah. 100%. He's working. So it's very, very difficult for him to just retire. And I used to think that, I'm going to retire by 50. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to fucking retire, man. I'm going to be working for the rest of my life willingly. I love working. Yeah. Now, how much time I'm going to be at work, that's a different story. This guy is at work every fucking day until 8 p.m. I'm like, just go home. Go home. Literally, my mom has to wait until 8 p.m. to have to sit down and eat. She's also old. Like, fucking go home. She goes, no. He goes, what am I going to do? Go home early. I'm like, you're retired. Retire.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thing, is get your hands really dirty if necessary. Wash them from time to time, but get your hands dirty.
That's a good one. My next one, it's kind of opposite of the last one, but it's cut unnecessary expenses. So I think it's time that everyone, I think this applies for any business.
Yeah, you could apply that to us too. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Not even business, just person right now. If you're just a human being right now, everybody should look at their budgets, look at where their spending is going, and see if there's any unnecessary ones. Cut it. Just cut it out. It applies to anyone. Yeah, please stop.
80 came out of time. This is going to be my last one. I kind of did a 2 for, sometimes a 3 for 1 in some of these.
Yeah.
But it's all good stuff anyway. This is all stuff that I really has been playing an active role right now in our whole processes. But we're trying to come up with a formal system to do this. It's a little bit hard, but maybe you could, not you, Shant, but whoever's listening to this, could figure out a creative way to adapt this to your business. But switching the pay structure to incentivize better productivity. So, for example, we are typically at our least busiest on Tuesday during lunch, and we are at our most busiest Friday during dinner. Yet the employees get paid a consistent rate, as do most retail non-commission employees. They just get an hourly wage. So if there could be a way to incentivize or reward the employee for the additional productivity, that should absolutely positively be discussed. Or incentivize working particular shifts as to encourage more employees, or encourage employees to find other employees to work if that's your problem, but incentivizing that activity.
Can you give an example?
So, for example, if the sales is the night's overall sales is available to view on the dashboard, I think that employees should be able to know how much the store sold, regardless of whether or not they're even seeing any of that money or not. They should know how much money came through the business that night. Now, if for whatever reason one night we only made, say, $1,000 at nighttime, then the employees would not get any bonus. But if, say, for that instance, that night we made, 100, we made 50% more profit that night, and there was obviously a lot more work that went behind producing that 50% more profit because you had to sell more in order to get that, then the employee should be entitled to a particular percentage of the extra performance over baseline. It could be anywhere between $50 extra for that shift, $100 extra for that shift, whatever the business owner deems as appropriate that doesn't cut into his bottom line, to incentivize the fact that these employees just work their asses off on a Friday night for you instead of going out to drinks with their friends. Now, if you don't have a way to incentivize that, but you need more employees to handle the additional demand, as opposed to just paying them more to handle the additional demand, but in hiring more employees, maybe offering them a fee for finding you another employee that sticks around for a couple months at least. So if one of my employees finds a really good candidate for the job that could help us, and if that employee sticks around for a couple months, I'll give the referring employee a fee, like $500, make it worth their while. You find me a good employee to hire, and I'll pay you for your effort. I'll incentivize the fact that you even put in this effort. So figuring out a way to incentivize your current employees to be more productive, or to be more, in some way, shape, or form, effective for your business.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense.
I hope that you like that just now. So figuring out a way to incentivize the employees' performance in general, total, not even just productivity, but just total performance.
Is that something you'll stick to even after this time? Is that something you guys would keep long term?
If the demand is there, maybe, yeah. If the actual demand for employees is there,
like the bonus structure, like for productivity and stuff.
100%.
Like
what I'm trying to do is figure out a way that I could implement it immediately, permanently.
Mm,
because I find it very, very annoying to leave at the end of the night with a wad of cash in my hands and the employees leaving with their dicks in their hands.
mm,
Sorry for the foul language, but it rubs me the wrong way that these guys really, really work their asses off without any sort of incentive, sort of
yeah.
like how tip employees work at a restaurant.
Yeah. Wow. That's so sick that you feel that way. And all the talk about how business owners are greedy and pieces of shits.
It's unfortunate though. It's very, very true. You're not going to find one business owner that's remotely close to the next one. They're all wildly different, bro. Every single mindset comes from not corporate, not a corporate structure, but a small business is based off of the
Yeah.
owner's own experience and life lessons from
Yeah.
whoever they learn business from. And not everybody's the same. As in, I didn't learn from just my father. I learned a lot of stuff from my father, but I didn't learn just from him. My first job was at Sevan Bakery in Watertown, and the owner of that bakery was also a very, very shrewd businessman, and he taught me a lot. The only way that I got a raise was one time I got him a coffee without him asking me because I knew at a particular time he liked to go and get coffee. So I went 5 minutes before he even goes to
Mm-hmm.
get him coffee that day because he was super busy. And I knew that he wasn't even going to be able to make it that day. So I went and got it 5 minutes before he actually was supposed to go and get it, just to like let him know that, hey, like, don't worry about it today. Like I took care of it today.
Hmm.
And he gave me a raise that day.
Wow.
So if you don't appreciate the little things in your employees, why would they do the little things for your customers or your business?
Yeah. Shit.
It's the little things. It's not the big responsibilities. It's the little looking out, like good looking out. That phrase rarely gets spoken in a business where you're not looking out for them. What's your last one?
So my last one is, so the last few years, real estate agents, we've been comfortable, had it really a lot easier. We didn't have to work hard. Could have been a little loose with a lot of things, right? And didn't have to be really structured. So I think right now, more than ever, being firm and super focused with your time, right? Being firm with your time means like really schedule things, really stick to them. Don't waste time in the office just talking and doing whatever, or go to networking events and stuff that's not really going to move your business forward. Just be really firm and focused with your time, man. I think that's very, very important right now because, if you have to up your activity and productivity by 30-35%, that means you have to be 30% better in your schedule, right? And really move things around and be very good with your time. So that's the last one for me, man.
So before we actually close out for tonight, just real quickly, where would you say that time needs to be monitored the most? Is it the new customer finding activities, or is it the actual talking with potentials that needs to be monitored very, very closely as to not give so much extra attention? Because I know buyers that aren't ready right now, or sorry, not even just aren't ready, but don't say how not ready they are, but they're sort of feeling it out, could piss away a lot of a realtor's time.
That's a really good question, man. What is the number one focus? Because I do
Especially
think,
right now, like where are you noticing most time getting pissed away, even without even wanting to piss away the time, but like they're just getting stuck in it.
pissed away time is probably in their transaction, right? And again, not saying we shouldn't be in our transaction because that's very important for the service of the customer. but it could be the stupidest thing of like, you need to get a quote, right? So you got like, you're during your inspection period, something's on with the air conditioning unit, you need a quote, you need to get an AC guy out. Instead of that thing taking you 10, 15 minutes to figure out, it takes you 2 hours to try calling different people. No one's answering. You go on Facebook to ask who knows an AC guy, right? Just fucking call, right? And get it done. So that's where it's getting pissed away. But where to focus your time, it's very close between going to look for new clients versus speaking with your current clients right now that are in the process of wanting to buy. I would say the edge goes to, because it's very close, the edge goes to the finding new clients. That's where most of the time has to be spent, I think, right now. The majority, not most, majority of your time.
Do you think that not enough time is being spent on reaching out to previous customers to ask them?
I was going to say that next. That would be number 3, probably in the pecking order of time spent, what you should be doing, and it's your previous clients.
Yeah. Do you think that there would be some added benefit to just reaching out and saying, "Hey, I just want to wish you the best, and I thought of you the other day. Hope all is well." Do you think that just by doing that could potentially spark a new transaction? Or is that sort of wasting time? Like they just bought like 2 years ago. Like, why are you doing that?
Well, it's a good point. So I think there was a stat that said 65% of home buyers who bought during the pandemic are pissed that they bought that house. Or just not pissed. They're not happy with the house they bought. 65, I think it was 65% of home buyers who bought during the pandemic were not happy with the house they bought.
Which sociopath conducted this study? What the fuck is? What kind of? Were you happy with the choice that you made during the pandemic? It's like, what kind of question is that? No, I'm not. But why would you ask that? The fuck?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it'd be a great time to reach out to your past clients, see how they're doing. They may know someone that's looking. So it's crazy right now, man. What do you think? So let's wrap up on this. I'm going to give you one question, and we got to head out anyway. What do you see happening next 6 to 12 months? What's your forecast?
I think that we're definitely going to see a major recession take place, especially because it feels like the rhetoric is pointing in that direction constantly. The experts keep on pointing in that direction. If you look at some of these major heavy hitters, they're all talking about gearing up for a major stock market crash.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of these experts, if you follow them, then you'll notice that this is the constant discussion to be had. I think that getting ready for it by means of not making any major purchases, not taking out any major debts, not making any major investments in your business that you know that you're not going to be able to close. As in, if this is a debt that you're going to be trying and pay for over the next 5 years, right now is not the best possible time to be doing that. Yeah. I just think that getting ready as if your business is under threat is the best way to be dealing with this, even if your sales have been consistent over the last year or two, because what's happening right now is very, very different than the last year or two. Yeah. Not only are we dealing with product shortages, we're dealing with employee shortages, we're dealing with cost soaring, we're dealing with all sorts of things going sour. All aspects, and this is not just pessimistic talk here. This is just like actuality. There's all sorts of things that are making conducting business a lot harder. So the fact that the economy is not doing as well is only going to make buying these things as a customer harder. So why make your life even harder by doing things that are opening up your liabilities even more?
Yeah. I think I saw today in the Wall Street Journal an article where is it? The stock market makes today, S&P, that consumer purchases are down. So
Yeah.
that's not a good thing. And today, so I think tomorrow, so when we're recording this, I don't know if it's out, but the GDP report comes out. It'll say if it's still negative growth, positive growth, or did it go stale. So when this comes out, when you guys are listening to this, may be out already, so we don't know, but so
I
that'll be
think we
good.
saw some growth.
Yeah, there was some growth that came
I
out
think there
today.
was some growth. Yeah, but I don't think that growth is going to be a sustainable increase.
Oh, 2.6%. Yep, just saw it.
Yeah, we did see some growth, but I'm telling you this much, it's almost like a tease. I really don't think we're going to be seeing any bright improvements over the next couple of years.
Yeah, so uh I just saw a headline in a Wall Street Journal. Amazon shares skid on weak sales outlook. So they're seeing that their outlook is it's going to be um, weak sales coming up.
Right now would be a great time to reduce your prices as a small business
Yeah.
and start getting more involved in your actual processes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's all that I want to share. I hope that's not even just small details. I hope this is really eye-opening for anybody that's in small businesses. Like, dude, you could be doing so much right now to combat everything that's happening, and you just got to get creative. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. All right.
Good night, Shant.
Good night, Adi.